All right, so there's been a lot of news going around about the science of reading and Heinemann publishing. So before there was a podcast that came out about 2 years, I want to say 2022, by Emily Hanford. It's called Sold a Story. She basically blew the lid off of the education school system, the American public education school system, and how have not been teaching children how to read. And it's so interesting that she actually said that with her own words, because I literally told my children, that my 6-year-old, my 9-year-old, that when they're using sight words, that is not reading. I am an avid reader. I have been reading since I can remember. I always loved to read. As soon as I could read before I even got to school, my sister taught me with phonics. And we didn't know it was phonics at the time because we used common sense and used the sounds and just sounded out the word. And that's how we learned how to read. So I started school. I was like one of the few children in there already reading. So if they implemented Heinemann, Lucy Calkins is the woman. She's like an author. She works, I guess, close with Heinemann. I'll find out those details. But I'm just finding out all this stuff. But I've known my entire time raising my children that there is something wrong, inherently wrong, with the way the schools are teaching my children how to read, how to just educate them. And I'm really tired of sitting by and saying nothing. Like, I'm really effing tired. I've been going to board meetings when I can. It's really hard to do these things when you're a single mother. And that's why these people are able to get away with what they get away with. One, they're very secretive. They don't want parents in the classroom. I don't know why classrooms don't have cameras. Like, everywhere else has cameras that you walk around, the hotel, wherever you're at. American public schools is public and is paid by taxpayers in every shape or way. Even any money they're using, whether it's federal, state, local, parents donating, whatever, is coming from freaking parents. So why can we not see what you're doing with our children all day? There are reasons why they don't want to do that. And then when COVID happened and schools had to get even more careful about who they allowed in the schools, a lot of schools just continued with that as an excuse to keep parents out of the schools. So they essentially have taken your children hostage. They threaten us with prison if we don't bring our kids to school. So they want our kids. And it reminds me of a book I read, From Babylon to Timbuktu, where there was like a group of people that were trying to convert people from Judaism over to Christianity, and they took all the parents and like shipped them off to an island somewhere and kept the children, because people know you can teach a child, you cannot teach a grown person. You just can't. They're too grown. Their minds are made up. They're not learning anything. They're not open to it. They're not as curious. They think they know everything. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. But children are very impressionable. Children are young and brand new, and their minds are wide open to like whatever you teach them. So they take our children and hold them hostage and make parents feel unwelcome. Like, I have talked to many parents say they feel very unwelcome trying to get into their child's school. It's like we're trying to break in. Like, it's really ridiculous. And I volunteer, so many parents, including me, I've been on calls and meetings all the time, and I don't even work for these schools, and I am in meetings, like sometimes 2 meetings a day, sometimes meetings at the same time where I'm on a computer on one meeting, and because these are virtual, thank God they finally got with the program when it came to IT. But I'm on like a computer for one meeting and on my phone for another one. But I am in so many meetings, and I've heard other parents say these same exact things, that they don't feel welcomed, even with us saying, hey, we're available if you want us to help do this, that, and the other. They never, ever tap us to like come tutor the kids to teach them how to read. I just offered last night to do that. And another parent said, I really like that idea, because it's like, why are you complaining that you have teacher shortages, but you have parents ready and willing to step in and take up the slack? Because at the end of the day, we want our kids to succeed too. At the end of the day, we want our schools to be 4-star, 5-star, getting those high ratings, because that helps with college and, moving the children going on further with their lives once they go into higher education, so on and so forth. So it should be a concern that everyone has. It's in everyone's best interest that children thrive. When I was growing up back in the 80s and 90s, I always heard children are our future. Now I just hear people complaining about children, complaining about the parents. That is doing nothing. And just like with everything else, whether it's the healthcare industry or anything else, they constantly find ways to keep Americans divided, and we keep falling for the okie doke over and over and over. And it's getting old. It's stupid. Just like the healthcare industry, there's things that happened there. You all know what I'm talking about. And they're trying to turn it around like, oh, this guy was just crazy, blah, 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 blah. We all feel the same way. We're angry like him. We all know what he's angry about. I'm not saying, oh, go be violent, whatever. The bottom line is you're feeling the same way he's feeling. Just follow that feeling. Stop pretending like, oh, I'm the voice of reason. What is he talking about? Like, dang on well, somebody that has been denied some health coverage that they're paying for that they should be getting. Why do we not have universal health care? So that's a whole nother video I'm going to be doing. But the bottom line is things are coming to a head. Things are coming to a head. America is collapsing all around us. I am so sick of watching people just continue to try to shift around and get more comfortable in the bull crap. It's like, how much more things have to happen for you to be uncomfortable enough or angry enough to act, to go fight for legislation, to go say, I want to change policy. We need to get money out of government because we can't fight when we're trying to go against all these billions of dollars. Why is that even something that could be happening? Why is someone who's a felon can run for president, but felons can't even vote for the felony president? Like, none of this stuff makes sense. And people just sit there looking dumb. They may complain, or they sit there and drink the Kool-Aid and blather off whatever lie they've come up with to control the masses. It was never the parents' fault. Ever. Just like black women are not welfare queens, welfare wasn't even created for black women. It's nothing in this country has ever been created to help black people. Why in the world do you think they would give us welfare? That was created for white people. That was created to help single white mothers. But somehow, because of a racist president, he wants to make us look bad. That he brings this black woman out front and he's saying, oh, the welfare queen. We still are shaking that stigma in 2024. He did that like 40 effing years ago. And now we got this crap on our shoulders. Oh, it's a parent's fault. It's parents. No, it's not my fault that my child can't read. I didn't go to school to become a teacher. You went to school to become a teacher, and you are failing my child. And instead of you going to your boss and saying, why did you choose this curriculum? The kids are not learning from this method. We got to do something different. Everyone has just been going along like a bunch of sheep, and it's disgusting. And I've literally just freaking had it. And I want lawsuits across the nation. I want all parents to come together who have been harmed. Their children have been harmed. You've had to pay thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to get your child the education they deserve just so they can succeed in this overpriced, raggedy, stupid country. You deserve money back. You deserve compensation for your pain and suffering, for money you've spent homeschooling your child, putting them in private school, paying for tutors. It's been hell. It has been hell. Even moving to the quote unquote right neighborhood so your child can get a quote unquote good education. And what do they get? Lack of reading technique that you have to undo. Racism. That's fun. And it's like, I'm looking at the scores. I'm supposed to be in a quote unquote the best of the creme de la creme. And my child's going through this. And I'm paying taxes for this. I'm paying for my child to be oppressed. I'm paying for my child to deal with racism. I'm paying for them to put my child on track for the school to prison pipeline. That's what I'm paying for. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you dang right. I want parents to come together, and we are going to be doing a class. I promise you. That's the next issue I'm about to pick up. I've literally had it. And I'm really tired of having to fight for things over and over. And it's really crazy that when you go fight for something that's common effing sense, you got your own other Americans fighting hard against you for something that doesn't make sense. Like, you know dang on well, you need to be fighting right along with me because you don't have it either. You don't have the money. You are being affected by children being dumb. These kids cannot find jobs. They don't have the attention span for these jobs. They can't learn how to do anything. What do you think that leads to? A life of crime. So enough is enough. And I'm going to be making more videos because this is a mess. And I learned about this probably earlier this year. Like, it wasn't even that long ago that I really had to deep dive and find out why the kids can't read. So I want to thank every person who tried to find their 15 minutes of fame and go viral by making another TikTok, and another, people just making video after video after video, different teachers just running a big mouth, talking about the kids can't read, it's the parents. This one lady, and I have a video of her even saying, I'm not going to go to the board, I'm not going to talk to the legislature, I'm going to talk to the parent.
Please understand, I'm a parent of 5 parents. You have to do your part. You have to check the backpack. You have to call the school. You have to talk to the teacher. You have to make sure that your child is doing and learning what they need to do and learn. Teachers, I know it's like a hamster wheel and it feels like every year is the same, but you gotta try. You gotta try. You gotta try to do your best. You gotta work with what you have in front of you. I'm not even gonna talk to admin coaches in downtown. I have nothing to say to them. All I know that this cycle has been turning and churning for over 20 years, several decades. We know the problem, so what's the solution? What are we going to do? What's going to happen now?
Why are you talking to us? Why are you talking to us? Did we choose the curriculum? Make this make sense. If someone breaks something, do you go and say, well, I guess I'm going to have to go to blame my child for this thing being broken that was never working well to begin with, instead of going back to the manufacturer and saying, hey, you sold me a defective product, you need to fix it. Whoever creates an oppressive system or a junk system, they need to fix it. Whether it's racism, illiteracy, I don't care what it is, whatever oppressive crap you have come up with to further oppress people who've already been oppressed on top of oppression, you need to fix your system. Your system is broken for us. A lot of people say, oh, it's not broken, it's working exactly as it should. Well, you know what the heck I mean. It's raggedy and it's harming people, and when you harm people, you will feel that ripple effect, and people are feeling it now. You are feeling it now. And I'm going to talk about that video with the healthcare issue, because when I listen to videos and they talk about that guy who killed that other guy over some healthcare drama, whatever, it sounds like black people talking about reparations. Like, it just sounds like our plight in America and what we've gone through in this country. So I'm tired of people being passive. Like, enough is enough. And I really don't care. I don't care whose feelings I hurt. I don't care who wants to try to say, don't, like I told somebody yesterday, they tried it. I had to let them know, this is not that time to talk about this, and I don't have nothing to explain to you. You aren't that person. If you're not going to give me what I want you out of my way. I'm going to find the person that will, because I want what I want and I will get it. So your little gatekeepers and your little middle people who come running up, tripping over themselves, trying to stop people, I know I'm fed up. And I know I can't be the only parent. Sick as just anger, red hot anger at all the decades of fighting the schools, wondering what's wrong with my child, wondering what's wrong with me, sleepless nights, just exhausted trying to teach my children stuff that they should have learned while they sat in school for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, 9 months out of the year. If the children are struggling so much, where was the tutoring at? Where was the summer school at to teach them? Not just for the bad kids or the kids who whatever. Like, the reading scores have been trash since the beginning of time. And y'all really think all these parents are having kids and ain't nobody helping their kids with nothing? Seriously? And we all know that parents in the 80s and 90s were wild, wild west. They wasn't doing nothing. A lot of us know dang on well we were latchkey kids. Everybody has that joke where it's that bit that commercial used to come on. Do you know where your kids are? So somehow though we know how to read. So do we need the parents, or were the schools doing their job back then? So let me go ahead and read this. So of course, here we go. People coming in after the fact. And you're not going to get to just put your little program in place quietly and then expect me to it's not going away. It's not going away. You need to pay. Because somebody got very rich off this. And that's what people do. Whether it's slavery or is incarceration. It could be whatever system, oppressive crap you've come up with. You all just slink away with your billions and bajillions of dollars. No, I am filing a class action lawsuit and I will find parents to do it with me. I am sick of people getting away with harming people. It's not right. It's not fair. This country is too damn wealthy to be acting this way. Whether it's healthcare, our education system, or whatever, even our civil rights. We watched them roll back affirmative action and we're still waiting for reparations. How does that make any sense? So you're saying, and the crazy thing is, affirmative action was never created just for black people. That's the fun thing. No one talks about that. It was never created just for us. It was created, everybody and mama was included in that. And so who do you think got the crumbs? Who do you think benefited the most? White women. It wasn't even us. But they still rolled that back because they knew they were going to hire white women anyway. Because when was a white woman ever being discriminated against to the point of her not getting a job? They was going to hire her ass anyway. I know every corporation I work for, there's white men and white women up in the CEO offices. Becky was never going to not get hired. So rolling back affirmative action it didn't change nothing. They're going to make sure that they take care of theirs. And the crazy thing is, I don't blame them. We're in a racist country, in a racist system. It's a race. So if you have one group of people doing well, like you got to look out for your own. But we don't do that, do we, black folk? We don't do that. Everybody talk a good game, like, we going to come together. We don't care. We don't want to. We don't do it. Because if we did, we would have done it by now. We only did it when we were forced to do it. And that was the last time. White people gave us a little bit of spot at the table on the floor somewhere in the room. We running over there. We forget real quick how they've been treating us. We forget real quick who they are. How they've always been with us. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There is no way. Just like the slave catchers became police, where do you think the people went that didn't want the slaves to learn how to read? Where do you think they went? Do you think they disappeared too? Okay, so let me go ahead and read this. But yes, somehow y'all blaming the parents because we're having kids. We're going through the trouble of giving labor, carrying kids, gaining weight and stretch marks to have said kids, to raise the kids, busting our asses, working 2-3 jobs to make sure our kids have everything they freaking need. You think these are the same people that's going to sit there and be like, oh, I want my kid to be dumb in school? I want my kid to amount to nothing? Why not just not have kids? What do you think we are, the slave masters? Do you think we just had kids so they can go work the fields? We don't even own a house, let alone a freaking field. Black people don't even farm like we used to. So why we got all these kids? Because we wanted to give them a better life so they can propel our family forward. That's why people have children. They want their kids to surpass them in intelligence and everything in every kind of way so that you can get your family to a better position in life. Everyone does it, even the wealthiest of the wealthy. They set their children up for the future. They plan for generations out. What do you think generational wealth means? So you think the people who have all been thinking the same thing. So again, another stereotype. We're going to assume that black women are having children for welfare. Welfare ain't crap. You act like they giving out billion-dollar checks. Let's think about that again. You think they're really giving black people money to have kids? When? Where they do that at? So 1 minute they trying to commit genocide on us. They're trying to get rid of us. They're trying to sterilize us. They're trying to do everything to stop us from having kids. But now they're giving us money to have them? Y'all dumber than dumb. Like, make it make sense. Y'all don't even sit there long enough to think about any of this. How about to keep it simple for you? Things have never changed. It just gets a different look. None of this stuff is different from nothing. Nothing has never changed in this country. Only thing that's changed is black people being dumb enough to forget where they came from. To forget the past, the history, to learn from the history. These people have not changed a thing about how they think about you. If they didn't want us to learn how to read back then, they don't want us to learn how to read now. If they didn't want us to exist then, they don't want us existing now. They are not giving us money. Okay? I have 5 children. I'm a black single mom. I don't get a dime for any of them. Not one check. Now, I can't even get approved for SNAP. But you got these stupid black males online acting like, they just haven't paid it. Where all this money at? Go online and Google how long the wait list is for Section 8. It's the length of the damn country. In every state. Why do you think they're talking about affordable housing everywhere? Because people are homeless. They don't have nowhere to live. They can't afford anything. If women were having all these children to get all these checks that are these imaginary checks that are coming out the fucking sky somewhere, then why aren't everybody living in a house? Why aren't we living somewhere? Do y'all know Cuba has cracked down and almost has like no homelessness, but they have a very high poverty rate? How do you think that is? Their government pays for them to live somewhere. They got a lot of Section 8. If that's what you want to call it, they getting a lot of it. Everybody gets it. Everybody. Their homelessness is almost down to 0. And guess who fights actively against that? All the Republicans, especially the ones from Cuba. Oh, we don't want socialism. But I'm going to show y'all a list of all the things people say Cuba's doing. I'm not saying Cuba is the perfect country ever, but they're doing better than, to me, they're doing better than America. They're doing better than America. And America is just rolling. Anything that America had that was decent, they are rolling it back. They chip away at it till it doesn't exist anymore. And people, especially black people, just sit there and let them do whatever they want to do. They just complain. They're like, I'm not voting. I'm not doing this. Just lazy. Yes, I said it. You're lazy when it comes to fighting for true change. You get lulled back to sleep so fast, and you want to go off to your Beyonce concert and wear your DKNY that's put all over it. Like, I just get so sick of it. And there needs to be the same idiots opening their mouth talking about it's the parents' fault. You don't know me. You don't know me. One, it's you probably that's not reading to your kids, even though that ain't about to teach nobody how to read. It's you probably that's doing that. So don't project your crap onto me. Or 2, you don't have any kids because you couldn't be bothered to raise another human being and further your race along. Like, you just can't be bothered by any of that. So either one, don't fix your face talking about something you know nothing about. You are not in these people's homes. None of y'all are in anyone's home, because forbid you have to come out of your comfort zone and go do some investigating. God forbid. God forbid you have to come out of your comfort zone and go do any kind of investigating like Emily Hanford had to do to find out why our children really can't read. Of course, it's a white woman that has to figure this out, because black people don't care enough. But y'all care. Y'all sure do love making your TikToks talking about other black people and everybody else. It's the parents. It's the parents. It's the parents. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And even if parents are not reading, so the F what? I'm not a teacher. It is not my job. You damn right. It's your job to teach the kids how to read. But like, if you're trying to I feel like a lot of teachers are trying to keep their little jobs So they don't want to rock the boat, and they find that it's more accepting to blame the parents, and everyone can rally around that hatred of parents, than to blame the actual real problem, which is always going to be the government. You're just shitting on people who don't have money. We don't have any power. Well, we do, but we don't use it. We don't exercise it. And because we don't have money, money talks. Everybody just love money. So you wouldn't dare go to your bosses and the people who actually create these curriculums and say, hey, what the heck has been going on here? You're the teacher. You know more about what's happening in that classroom than we do. We just had a conversation the other one of the meetings I'm in billions of meetings. They were talking about why they can't have video in the classroom. Why? So we can't see you not teaching my child how to read? Your stupid self. I swear, I'm about to lose it. Because I can't tell you how many books I've paid for, how many tutors we paid for. We have homeschool. We pay for entire curriculum, entire systems to homeschool our sons. I am exhausted. I do homework with my children every night. And I mean, these are packets. My son brought something to me after we did a whole package of homework. To my, oh, mommy, I have this too. It was in English. He's in French school. I was like, I'm not doing that. Tell your teacher I'm not doing it. I will not do English, nothing. I'm so sick of everybody and their stupidity. I'm not doing it. Honestly, I'm about to pull my kids up out of IEP. They're about to be out of that mess. So let me go ahead and read this. So they said the state board calls for the adoption of science and reading statewide. Today, the Maryland State Board of Education called for the statewide adoption and implementation of literacy instruction based on the science of reading, starting with the 2024-25 academic year. So my son is actually doing phonics. This year, they got a reading teacher to teach phonics to my 9-year-old. But I have recordings of almost every different back to school night where the teachers, I specifically ask them and they will say, we don't teach phonics. We do not teach phonics. And then later, they try to change it because now things are coming out and say, oh, now we have a new tune. No, mother, that's why I record everything. I record it all. So they said here, today, the Maryland State Board of Education called for the statewide adoption and implementation of literacy instruction based on the science of reading, starting with the 2024-25 academic year. Under the State Board Resolution 2401, Dr. Carrie Wright, Interim State Superintendent of Schools, will present the board with a comprehensive literacy policy aligned to the science of reading in preparation for the 2024-25 school year. The science of reading, and she also has a meeting they're having like a seminar. I don't know what it is, but they're having like an event, her and Emily Hanford, on January 25th, and I will be there front and center. I will be there with all the other parents. And that's where we're going to congregate and come together. And we're going to do a civil action lawsuit. So let me keep going. So they said the science of reading is an evidence-based instructional practice that emphasizes the importance of phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension in developing strong literacy skills. Now, this is the woman who wants to actually repeat kids if they don't know how to read by the 3rd grade. And honey, like if you're just adopting the science of reading, which for everybody who don't know what the heck that is, phonics. If you're just adopting phonics, trust and believe me, you better not repeat not one child, not a one child that's on their way to 3rd grade or in 3rd grade over the last few years. Because you've been teaching them incorrectly. Don't do it. Like my son is really struggling how to read, and we have to fix that. We, the parents, had to fix that, because by a certain age, 3rd or 4th grade, if they don't know how to read, it's just a wrap for them. They won't ever catch up because your brain closes up and you start to not learn as easily certain things. So you have to get it by a certain age or that's it for you. And then also you're falling behind because if reading is in everything. So if you don't know how to read, you're not going to know how to read your word problems, do your math. You're not going to know how to read your books to get your science work done. You're not going to know how to read the social studies book to learn about the government and the whack-ass history lessons that they're giving that's not real. You're not going to learn how to read and you can't read anything. You can't read a thing. So these schools gonna have to really get up to par, because you let how many generations of kids, how many classes of kids have you allowed to graduate? You just pushed them on with the No Child Left Behind mess, and you don't repeat anybody, you don't make anybody repeat. And thank God you didn't, because what's the cost of that? You're making all these kids repeat, and what are they going to be doing? Learning the same stupid mess they were learning the year before, because ain't nobody changed nothing. They're just saying they're changing it right now. So you'd have had them repeating and learning balanced literacy or whatever crap they were teaching them before. Cues, or what are they talking about? How you're feeling? What does the picture say? Like, are y'all dumb? Are y'all stupid? And I promise you, I know it's been done. It was done on purpose. I promise you, it was done on purpose. And the only people who could afford to get around this were the rich people. It was the wealthy people. They can afford tutors. They can afford to put their kids in the right schools, in private schools that teach phonics. They could afford that. Everybody else screwed, just constantly being screwed over. And instead of y'all looking at who's getting rich off this mess, you're pointing the finger at people who don't get rich off of it, who's actually being harmed by it, who's actually setting our families back generation to generation, because now they're doing stupid shit because they can't read. They done failed out of school, or they're living a life of crime or whatever. You're blaming us. Why in the hell would we be the problem when, one, we're not in charge of what is taught to kids, two, we're not teaching our kids because we're not the teachers, three, we don't have the money, so what is it a benefit for us? But it's always so easy to just roll back onto the low-income people and single parents, specifically black single mothers. Specifically black single mothers. But I know people who were in quote-unquote good neighborhoods whose kids can't read because they I don't know what happened, but they took it too far. And I guess they assumed, well, Bill and Becky can afford a tutor. So if their child's struggling, they can get a tutor. When I signed my sons up for a tutor many years ago, they were in public school. This guy was like, every child at his school comes here. I grew up, my parents weren't about to get nobody a tutor anywhere. The way I was shocked, his entire class of classmates were already going there. Y'all playing checkers. You stay playing checkers. These people ain't playing with you. But I will tell you this, my son is finally learning. His black woman teacher, she's a reading teacher. She puts out every week, I want to say, what they are learning that week or what they have learned. She's amazing. I can't wait to see the results, because my son is still doing stuff that people who were in a Sold a Story podcast, my kid still does those. He still is doing those things. We just worked on reading like the night before last night. We did a different method. Last night he read a book to us. The night before, we actually were doing phonics work. We were doing phonics instruction, and he was dropping whole syllables off of work. I'm like, what is this? He was coming up with other words. Made, he was saying it was mad, and did, and he coming up with everything under the sun that he's familiar with instead of what was in front of his face. And why is it that every parent has the same story? And I'm going to record him. I have recordings of my children because I'm a proud mom. So I was never recording them to like have a gotcha moment, but it shows the struggle, and we would just be crying and yelling, and it would be stressful and emotional, like trying to figure out why. I was just so confused because I had no clue what the schools were. I would have never in a million years thought a school would take phonics out of the school. And then when they did, when they told me they weren't teaching my kid phonics, you know what I knew? Okay, well, it falls on me to make sure my child gets the education they need. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You are taking money from us. This is the Department of Education. You're supposed to educate our kids. It should never fall on parents to educate our children. If that's the case, you need to give me a stipend, because you all benefit from people having kids and raising kids and educating them and all of that. You need to give us a stipend so we can educate our children. We already feed them, clothe them, shelter them. We do all of that. When they grow up, they turn 18 and they benefit you. They benefit the economy. They benefit society if they were raised right. The least you can do is give money to parents so we can educate our own kids, if that's what you expect us to be doing. Because we have bills to pay too. And not only do we have bills to pay, but the shit ain't cheap. It is not cheap to homeschool a child. It's basically like a private school tuition. They say right now in Georgia, they have $6,500 they give parents if they want to homeschool their kids. That's a joke. Do y'all know how much homeschool costs? Like, we pay way more than that in a year. For books, for programs, for tutors, and food, because now your child's at home eating all his meals. We were paying for everything. It was astronomical. Like, I could have never did it without my ex, because he makes so much money. He was the one that paid for everything, because I couldn't afford that. And that's what they want. They want the people who they know is black and brown, but especially black, because brown people stick together better than we do. So they're doing better economically a lot of the times. They know a lot of y'all can't afford it. They know a lot of y'all don't care. They know a lot of y'all don't know nothing about it. All of that. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. So they said the state, and this makes me so angry, because I'm like, you're just starting to do this. You're just starting to do this. This came out January 23rd, 2024. Conveniently came out a couple of years after Sold a Story came out and blew the lid off everything. And people are starting to now have these conversations like, wait, what? My child, like, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I found out what they weren't teaching our children in schools through the Hechinger report. I just found it out like this year. So all this time, I just assumed common sense, my child's learning phonics in school. So if he's not getting it, it's because he's not paying attention. He's struggling. He must have, need an IEP. He must have dyslexia. It's been awful. It's been awful. There's no transparency. There's no honesty with parent. It's just been awful. And they have to pay for that. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And there's been plenty of lawsuits. But they settle them out of court. And they keep it quiet. So trust and believe. There's going to be more to come. And they're going to be loud. Like, I need them to be very loud. Like, no, you're not going to just have me go away quietly. I want the world to know what you've been doing to parents and our children. This is probably one of the biggest, there's so many though, but this is one of the biggest scams and travesties I've ever seen. Because all that money has been concentrated to like one small group of people that have gotten rich off this. The Heinemann people, the Lucy Calkin, the other two ladies that I talked about on TikTok, like, all that money has been going to like this very small concentrated group. And they just became wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And it's almost reminiscent of like the parenthood thing. Like, it's just, you got this one white woman who's just like going on tour, lying to parents. And it reminds me as well of the Oklahoma Bible issue that's going on right now. Like, trying to force Bibles back into the school, and no one's outraged. No one's saying a thing. Why the fuck do I need a Bible in my child's school when you are the second worst district? You're the second worst state in the entire country. Can y'all hear me? You have the worst reading scores, the worst math scores in Oklahoma. But their state superintendent is fighting about getting Bibles in the schools. Why are you worried? Are you a priest? Are all the schools becoming Catholic academies? Like, what is going on? And where is the outrage? Where are the TikTok videos crying and whining about this idiot state? He's over the entire state. Like Dr. Carrie Wright is over Maryland, and she's dictating, okay, we're going to have phonics in all the schools. He's sitting there in the same time talking about we're going to have Bibles. This isn't church. How am I walking away from church and you're bringing church into my child's school? Do you think I want it in their school? If I wanted to sit there and look at the Bible, I'd have been going to church. People are not stupid anymore. People know what you all are doing, and people are angry. And this is why America's collapsing and things are happening the way they are, because people have been trying to protest. People have been trying to speak out, and y'all are not listening. So here they said the state board has set a statewide aspirational target for Maryland to rank among the top 10 states in reading on the 4th and 8th grade National Assessment for Educational Proficiency NAEP exams by 2027. Resolution 2401 also calls on the superintendent to partner with institutes of higher education to ensure alignment of teacher preparation programs and review current standards and regulations for consistency. Our goal is to ensure that more Maryland students have foundational literacy skills that equip them for lifelong success, said Dr. Wright, a national leader in literacy instruction and outcomes. In working with the State Board of Education and the Blueprint Accountability and Implementation Board, we have determined that Maryland needs comprehensive literacy initiatives. Students should have access to robust instruction that prepares them for higher education, the workforce, military, and other pathways. Thank you. And this is why everyone should be angry and say, oh, it's the parents' fault, it's the parents. You should be angry because it affects you. You selfish pricks. If that's the only way you have to care because you don't care about kids or you don't care about your neighbor, then think about yourself. What do you think these people are going to become? What do you think these people or these adults are going to be doing when they grow up and they can't get a higher education? They can't get in the workforce. They can't go in the military. They can't do any other pathway to make money. What do you think is going to be happening to this country? What do you think you're going to be living next to? Crime. And not even just crime, getting killed for random, just arguing about a little thing. You getting shot, which is also crime. But I mean, like burglary, just a lot of crime to feed themselves. Apocalypse. Can't find nobody to do these jobs in engineering, in IT, in tech, in anything, healthcare. Where are our doctors? Y'all are retarded. Y'all are so dumb right now. People are so annoying to me right now. This should be a public outrage. I posted a video, and the one where people thought that I was posting a video about kids can't read, and I was bashing kids who can't read, which I would never, because if they can't read, it's the whole adult's fault. All the adults in the room, all the adults everywhere in this country. You failed our kids. You have failed our kids by sitting on your butt and not voting or voting improperly or not fighting for better things for our children to be learning in school. Like all of us are responsible. It's not just ever going to just be the parents, because unfortunately, I know y'all want to try to act like you're independent. No man is an island. You're not by yourself. Unfortunately, we're all connected together. So whatever one person does, it affects everybody else. That's just what it is. Deal with it. So you sitting here selfishly just thinking, well, I ain't got kids, so I ain't my problem. Okay, take your ass to the hospital and see if you get your arm back. The shit gonna fall off time you walk out the door because you don't have a good doctor because the doctor couldn't read. So when we prioritize the literacy, we help our children read, achieve, connect, and grow. This approach sets us on course to lift our children and build a more competitive state, said Governor Wes Moore. if they follow what they're talking about, like, can we just keep them in office till the end of time? I don't care if someone's reigning over whatever, if they're doing what they're supposed to do. I really could care less. I don't need to vote you out and take a chance of some raggedy mess coming in behind you, undoing all the great you've done. Like, let's just vote to keep you in office till the end of, until you start screwing up. Governor Westmore and Dr. Kerry Wright. I don't know if I know Governor Westmore has terms. I don't know if Dr. Kerry Wright has terms, and I would love for them not to, if they're, because this is a dynamic duo. They are doing some really powerful stuff that is very impactful and really common sense. Common sense stuff that I'm shocked wasn't already happening, because we just really got integrated into this. I'm from Northern Virginia, but even those schools too, I'm just like, why wasn't this happening with the metal detectors already? We got school shootings like every week. Child, and Governor Westmore came in like, school, we need to have metal detectors. I'm like, Maryland schools do not have metal detectors? I went to school and they had metal detectors. I don't know if they still do, but when I went to school in Northern Virginia, they had metal detectors. We had to wear mesh book bags or clear book bags where they could check our stuff. That was in some areas. The white tea, more, expensive areas did not have to go through that, because we moved over to those areas later on as I got older, and they did not have the metal detectors. But the way things are going nowadays, like, everybody needs them. So he is saying, I'm grateful for all of our partners, both inside and outside the administration, who have studied the data and laid out a strategy to elevate our students in classrooms. Today, we take an important step forward in our work to make Maryland schools the best in the country. I'm here for all of that. I don't love Marylanders, but if they pull this off and they're serious about this, they can count me for being here until my kids, at least until my kids finish high school. They can count on me being here, because otherwise I can't. So the development and mastery of early literacy skills are a strong predictor of later school reading and math achievement. Reading proficiently is increasingly important after third grade. Students who have not achieved grade level literacy are at a higher risk of not finishing high school, college, and career ready. So I have to break that down because they missed a comma there, but they are at a higher risk of not finishing high school, ever going to college or finishing college, and they're definitely not going to be career ready if they don't do those two things. So the State Board and Maryland State Department of Education are taking swift action to improve literacy in our schools by prioritizing collaboration with our local school system leaders to ensure data-driven, evidence-based instructional practices, says State Board President Clarence Crawford. Reading proficiently by the end of third grade is a crucial marker for every Maryland child's educational development. Fragmented policies, segmented practices, limited preparation, and intervention programs pose unnecessary challenges. Thank you. To following the science of teaching and learning how to read. I'm gonna need that word to be the word of 2025 and beyond, like unnecessary challenges. I want both words, but mainly unnecessary. Just unnecessary. A lot of the stuff in America, the American government, a lot of stuff is just so blatantly unnecessary. Just constantly finding ways to try to keep people in their little boxes, in their place, oppressed. Just stop it. You're not going to have a successful country if the majority of the country is enslaved. Because that's what's going to happen to us. If you're not educated, you're going to end up in prison, which is where they want you. But how successful will that country be like that? One, the world's going to be looking at you like, why is all your population in prison? We have more people in prison than any other country on this planet. And that is not by accident. Because all America knows is slavery. That's why they barely apologized for it. They haven't atoned for it. They haven't been, and no one's been held accountable. There's no lawsuit, there's no money anywhere to be had. No lawsuit that's been won for reparations that we deserve, that we're owed. It's common sense. We live in a capitalistic society. You damn right. 400 years of labor, you're beyond late for our check. Where is our money? Where is our money? Nothing in life is free. Remember that? 400 years of labor? That wasn't free. There was nothing free about that. You need to fix that. There needs to be an atonement for that. People are not going to forget that. Y'all ain't forgetting my credit card bills. If I stop making my car note, you're not going to forget about that. If my mama stopped paying on her mortgage, are you going to forget that? And tell her and just be like, okay, we're going to get over it. You're okay. You don't have to pay on this $200,000 house, whatever. Like, you're good. Hell no, they ain't forgetting anything. They won't let you forget it. Hell, people trying to take me to court over, this company trying to take me to court over $733 that I don't owe. They don't forget. They don't forget. They want all their money, but you want me to forget 400 years? 400 years of building an entire country. That's the biggest contracting bill I've ever seen. And you want us to just forget about that? You want us to forget about you dropping bombs on our communities? Seriously? They were paying for insurance to ensure their businesses and their homes were protected, and they didn't pay them a dime. But you want us to forget. That's why this is why people are so invested in making sure we can't read, because we're learning way too much. People are waking up and people are like, wait, what's going on here in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Trying to keep people dumb so you can control people is narcissistic as fuck. So the state board and Maryland State Department of Education are taking swift. Sorry, let me go on down because I'm trying not to read this forever. Student literacy rates are improving across the state. Literacy results from the 2023 Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program and CAP were higher than pre-pandemic performance, which is saying nothing. It's saying nothing. It was low before pre-pandemic. See, this is what they do too. Let me give you an example. So I just saw this in some studies. So when you look up, say, how many white people kill people with guns versus black people killing people with guns, they're going to say, oh, based on the rate of the killing is black people. They have the higher rate of. I didn't ask you that. I asked you how many deaths happen because of how many gun related deaths happen because of white folks versus black folks. What's the percentages? What's the numbers? They're going to, now what? Now what? Do it one for one. Don't be talking about no rate, nothing. These loose, raggedy statistics. Like, no, absolutely not. And then you find out when you do one for one, white people have almost double the amount of gun-related deaths, which is obvious. It's like you all are obsessed with guns. You created guns. You won't let the guns go to save your life. Even with y'all killing each other, you won't create new legislation to let your semi-automatic rifles disappear. You won't make it harder for people to get guns. Like, God forbid you let a gun go. I've already read articles where it says white people, their households have more guns than any black household. So how do we suddenly have all these gun deaths? Oh, because the little raggedy racist media is putting us out there all the time. It's showing us shooting each other, but they never show when white people are doing it. They don't even show when Hispanic people do it. I found it in California that there's like every day a shooting at the cops. Every day there's like a cop-related shooting from some criminal in California. And I will get those details for you all. But I was shocked and appalled. Because let them tell it, we're the most violent of them all. Like, are you kidding? The proof is in the pudding. If black people were the most violent, nobody would be still living right now. So here they're talking about, so they're trying to say it's better than a pre-pandemic performance, but that's not saying much. It was low then. The scores were low then, so that's not an achievement. Are they reading at grade level? And the answer is no. Like, are these kids at high numbers reading at grade level? And the answer is no. So proficiency rates for third grade students reached a 9-year high of 48%. That's awful. That's over half the kids are not proficient in reading in third grade. Across all grades, more in like the kids who can read, who's teaching them? Because you're just putting phonics into the schools. Like, it was the parents. That 48% that somehow became proficient by third grade in reading, it wasn't the school system. So wow, isn't that an okie doke? Like, it's the parents who were teaching the children how to read before school, or at best their daycare, which I doubt. I doubt that. So, however, Maryland's NAEP ranking decreased from 24th nationwide in 2015 to 40th in 2022 based on fourth grade scores. Among eighth graders, the ranking dropped from 18th to 25th during the same time period. Among Maryland school districts, all but one have aligned their curriculum to the science of reading. And who's the one that hasn't? They need to drop that information. The state board and MSDE, and just because they put this out there does not mean people necessarily are going to adopt it right away either. Like, I don't know what the repercussions are if they don't. They can say a lot of great stuff, and then you actually drill it down to the actual school, the city, the state. Not the city, the district, the school itself, down to even the teachers. Some teachers be bucking against it, like, oh no, I trust my awful methods I've been doing for 30 years, and still teaching the kids improperly, because some teachers are anyways. But yeah, so they said the state board and MSDE will continue to partner with the Blueprint Accountability and Implementation Board to ensure that the blueprint for Maryland's future advances the science of reading and literacy outcomes. In addition to reviewing current state literacy guidance, Dr. Wright will establish partnerships with colleges and universities to improve alignment of teacher preparation and professional development to the science of reading. So they're saying that the state board and MSDE will continue to partner with the Blueprint Accountability and Implementation Board to ensure that the blueprint for Maryland's future advances the science of reading and literacy outcomes. In addition to reviewing current state literacy guidance, Dr. Wright will establish partnerships with colleges and universities to improve alignment of teacher preparation and professional development to the science of reading. MSDE will incorporate a specific evaluation of reading instruction in the licensure program renewal process. This month, Dr. Tennant Smith, who led elementary reading for the Mississippi Department of Education, will join MSDE to lead literacy instruction. She will implement teacher coaching and professional development, high-quality instructional materials, and help to develop intervention techniques aligned to the science of reading. So there you go. Finally adding it in. Finally getting science of reading into the schools after 100 years of doing it wrong. So